Ooh, a purple! Rewarded for my clutch redemption. Come on, come on. A Vernic Defender Hill. You know what? We'll take it. And this time, this is a normal Tob and not a hard mode Tob, so it kind of makes sense. We're going to be picking up where we last left off, and that's Fasani's Nightmare. Obviously, we most likely opened up this video with a Tob purple. We're still going to be doing a lot of those. Honestly, when people are online, I kind of just get dragged along. I mean, not that I have to do Tob, but, you know, when someone asks me, hey, do you want to do some Tob, especially hard mode Tob, I can't really find myself passing it up, you know, it's just a lot of fun. Besides, Fasani's Nightmare, solo content, I can do anytime I want. When it comes to raids, especially Tob, I have to have a team, and that's not always going to be the case. But yeah, nevertheless, we're going to focus our attention on Fasani's Nightmare when we are solo. Last episode, we actually picked up a Jar of Dreams. While that is very, very nice, it is not an Inquisitor's piece or an orb of any kind, so it's not very useful. We'll see if we can pick up an item in this video. I'm pretty sure we are due for a 5th item. Let's take a look at the collection log real quick, just as a quick refresher as to where we're at right now. So we're currently at 562 Nightmare KC, or Fasani's Nightmare KC. Again, we have the Mace, the Inquisitor's Top, a Nightmare Staff, and the Harmonized Orb. The drop rate to see any item at Fasani's Nightmare is 1 in 113. So if we do the math here, 562 divided by 113, I think we should be seeing an item sometime soon. But as we know in this game, we just never know. That's not how RNG works. It's never guaranteed. First KC, we get a whole bunch of brews. Now I kind of am debating whether or not I should drop my bluefins. I suppose it's much easier to get more bluefins than it is to get brews. Not that I'm in short supply of brews, but you know, the less herblore I have to do, the better, I suppose. A prayer potion drop. Okay, when it comes to this, there's no debating. I'm taking the prayer potions for sure. In fact, I'm going to go the extra mile here and decant these into 4 doses because they drop in 3 doses just to make sure I get all of it. I mean, it's only going to take me an extra couple of seconds here, but essentially free prayer potions. I'll be taking that. Thank you very much. Oh my god, there it is. KC 569. Nice. Inquisitor's Great Helm. Let me pick that up before something tragic happens, like disconnecting. Imagine that. I think the helmet might be a better get than the skirt. I don't know. Either way, whether I got the helm or the skirt, I wouldn't be complaining. But there we go. I was fully expecting a drop, and we finally got one. Let's take a look at the collection log here. This is incredibly lucky, not in the number of items, although obviously the Jar of Dreams is very, very lucky, 1 in 4,000, but number of items, we are right on rate pretty much at 5 items. But the fact that we have no dupes so far is incredibly lucky. I was going to finish up that KC and say that optimistically, we could only really expect to see maybe 1 drop a week. And that's if I'm putting in a good amount of hours per day because, well, the KC per hour is really only 8. And as I've said in the past, 1 in 113, yeah, that's a lot of Fasanis to go through, right? A lot of hours put in just to see a drop. But before I could even, you know, like, formulate those sentences together, I finished the KC and we get the Inquisitor's Great Helm. Obviously, we're going to be using the Inquisitor's Great Helm for our Fasani's KCs now, but let me put it in the bank real quick and get rid of this one placeholder in the top right of my bank that I've had for who knows how long now. I finally get to put the actual helmet in that slot rather than a bank filler. There we go. And then we'll just take it back out now. And yeah, we'll start farming more of Fasani's Nightmare. Of course, we continued on and I went for the back-to-back attempt. Unfortunately, no back-to-back there. But very briefly, let's talk about the numbers real quick. When we were still using the Torva Helm with the Inquisitor's Top, I did opt to use the Inquisitor's Mace even though it was slightly less DPS. I thought the DPS difference wasn't that big of a deal, and I was just having a better time with the mace for whatever reason. Just quality of life, I suppose, dealing with the Hus, the Sleepwalker, well, not the Sleepwalkers, but the Hus, the Parasites, and the boss itself. The DPS difference was about 0.1. I think maybe a little less than that, just under. But now with the Inquisitor's helm, the difference between the Sight and the Inquisitor's mace is even less. The difference now is only 0.012. So, I guess we're definitely going to continue using the mace. Well, I think that's enough Hasanis for today. I can only do so much in one day, especially in one sitting. It's a very intensive boss. But beyond that, I mean, it's been a productive day. We pulled an Avernic from Theater of Blood. Although technically speaking, I just lost 33 mil by pulling that Avernic. Split out on my main account, of course. I do keep the Avernics on the account, usually, unless I'm very, very desperate for GP, and that's because I use the Avernics for Death's Coffer, and even if I don't put it in Death's Coffer, I just have a satisfaction of putting it in my... In fact, I have a whole quote-unquote flex tab here in my bank. You can see I have dupe pieces from Chambers, Cerberus stuff, and just a whole bunch of junk in here. Well, I shouldn't say junk because this tab is evidently worth 2 bill. Now, obviously, this isn't every item I've ever pulled on this account. I've definitely dropped plenty of items over in the past to fund my main account. The highlight of the night was obviously getting a new collection log, which is very, very rare for me. I don't do very many clues, although I did have a stint of doing easy clues trying to go for a ham joint. And I only did as many medium clues as it took for me to get the Ranger Boots. So I don't really do clues at all on this account, really. So collection logs are few and far between. I currently have 699 collection logs filled, and the majority of that is actually just from PVMing. So I'd like to say that's a pretty high collection log number for not really doing that many clues. But obviously the highlight of the night today was pulling the Inquisitor's helmet. So we're 2 out of 3 pieces on Inquisitors now, and obviously we're going to keep the grind going. We'll see how long it takes for us to get another item. Obviously I won't expect one anytime soon. It's probably going to be a good couple of days, maybe even a week or more until we see another item. But I'm enjoying Fasani's Nightmare so far. I think the more I do it, the more comfortable I am, and I'm going to die less, meaning, well, I'm not going to be as frustrated, right? So it's a snowball effect, really, and I think the KC's really going to be picking up. Previously, I was like, you know, I don't know how long it's going to take me to get 1,000 KC, and yeah, that's going to take a long time regardless, but yeah, like I said, the KCs are going to ramp up, and we will definitely continue to do some more tomorrow. Right now, obviously, as I've been rambling, I've just been doing some blood rune crafting. Always got to keep up these scythe charges and just have blood runes for barraging as well. So after the rune crafting, I'm doing a little bit of a farm run at the Hasidius patch, because obviously this one gives you a little bit of extra yield on the herb patch, and I think protection as well, if I'm not mistaken. You know, I just, sometimes I like to right-click people I see along the farm run or just anywhere in the game, and there is this fella right here, Hasidius Ho. Pretty fitting. I'm going to look him up real quick. Probably a chunk account, I imagine. Actually, this account has nothing but farming EXP. What is going on here? Brand new day now, and I guess it wasn't a dream. I really did pull the Inquisitor's Great Helm. It is the, yeah, Inquisitor's Great Helm. I was kind of questioning if the Great was officially in the name of the item or not, but yeah, let's get started with more Fasanis. Our current KC, let's take a look real quick. 573. On my way to the 10th KC of the day. Honestly, when I think about how many KC you can do in an hour, which is at best 8, it is a little demoralizing in that way. But we did recently get the helmet drop, so that is a motivation boost. But yeah, it's just a flip-flop, you know. The run to Fasani's Nightmare is a pretty long one, even with the TP, so it's like, as I'm running to the boss, it's like, do I really want to do the boss, you know? But here we are. Don't get me wrong, the boss is actually a very enjoyable fight. It's tough to do over a long period of time. It's very punishing, but gameplay-wise, it is very nice. We can have a debate about the drop table though, and I think they have made changes over the years. I think drops are a little bit more common now, but the regular loot is honestly not all that great. The most excited I get though is when prayer potions and sandfuse serums drop, so that's pretty nice, I suppose. I don't know why I just swapped into my mage gear there. I thought it was the I don't know, I got lost as to where I was. I'm kind of difficult talking and doing the fight, but at least I'm not dead right now, so that's good. Okay, I kind of have my bearings with me, at least for now. What I was just talking about is the loot here, and there's a strong reason, there's a big reason why Ironmen don't typically come to grind out Fasani's or even regular Nightmare early or even mid-game. This type of content's usually reserved for the endgame players that are maxed and have most of the other gear in the game. And that's honestly because best in slot crush gear is not all that useful. I suppose in more recent times they have made a few uses for it, more than before, but it's still a very, very niche armor set. There's not too many things that are weak to crush. We're currently, you know, just doing Fasani's now because, well, our options are the Void Waker grind, which we have tried, but unfortunately we just haven't had luck there. And then obviously here at Fasani's, and then the other option is Corp. So that's, you know, not great. The options aren't great there. It did not take long before we got invited to do some hard mode top. So here we are. Let's see if we can pull any purples. Ooh, a purple. Off of my MVP. A Vernic Defender Hilt. Okay, okay. What the heck? KC 704? We just got our third dust. Let's take a look at the collection log there. Yep, third dust. Wow. Ooh, a purple. Okay, okay. For me, wow, I've been getting a lot of purples lately on my MVP as well. What are we getting? A Vernic Defender Hilt. Okay. Money. A lot of those lately. It shouldn't really come as a surprise, but I got completely sidetracked and did a pretty big hard mode top session. Now I did go back and do some more Fasani's, but I didn't get very many KCs in before I just planked. So I think that's enough PVMing for tonight. I did about somewhere between 10 to 15 Fasani's today. I would like to do a little bit more than that. Hopefully we'll chip away at the KC tomorrow. We're definitely going to get the 600 KC mark tomorrow. In the meantime, though, I'm just going to do a little bit of skilling, recoup a little bit of our supplies. So I'm going to be making diamond necklaces here to turn into phoenix necklaces. I do use those in Tob. And then obviously I got to think about blood runes, maybe some prayer potions, super combats, all of that. You know, just typical Iron Man upkeep at this stage of the account. Wow, it's been a long time since I've even showcased this account on any of the videos, I think. I can't even remember the last time I featured this. It was probably before the Grandmaster grind, right at the end, actually, because that was the point where I stopped even AFKing on this account and just put all my attention into becoming Grandmaster. Before that, I mean, I was sporadically showing this account. I was just thieving in the background here in Varlamore. I'm actually 96 thieving now, and I think that's where I left off as well. So yeah, I really haven't been playing this account at all. But I decided to log in just to see, you know, like what kind of items I had in the bank, what items I had on me. I have the scythe equipped actually. And yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll do a little update on this account because honestly, I haven't been on this account for so long that some viewers might not even know what this account is. Now, the maxed account I've played for the longest time, and that was the first account, of course, in the GIM. When I first started the YouTube series, this was the account I made fresh, so episode 1 and much of the early videos in the series follows this account. And then sometimes we get up to some dolo stuff where I feature both accounts. I'm working on stuff either together with both accounts or just having individual grinds. But at some point, I kind of just got tired of playing 2 accounts at once all the time, and I would just pick one or the other account to play. This account is a 50 defense, 63 prayer, and 82 attack restricted account. The 82 attack is kind of a silly restriction. It just keeps my combat levels a little bit lower because 82 attack, you pretty much have access to every weapon in the game. Now, defense is where it's more restrictive, right? And actually, the defense levels do play a role into what weapons I could use as well. 50 defense is just high enough to let me use the Perilous Moons gear, which is very, very strong, actually. But the 82 attack, that limits me, or rather the 50 defense limits me from using anything with shared EXP, so like a whip or like a hosta, things of that nature. 63 prayer is just high enough to get me Deadeye and Mystic Vigor, the prayers from Royal Titans. So these account restrictions were very much inspired by the Varlamore updates. Everything else is not restricted. You can even see here I'm one sailing, so I definitely haven't even logged in for a long time. I may be back on the account, but I still have no idea what I want to do on this account. So I guess while I'm just yapping away here, I'm just going to continue thieving, which is what I was last doing. We are just under 700k EXP away from 97. This account and the YouTube series that launched with it came about during a time where I was feeling a bit uninspired and perhaps even burnt out from the endgame Ironman experience. I've always played this game with a very PVM focused mindset, so collection logging, like clue hunting specifically, was not something really on my mind. And at that point, once I was a maxed Ironman, with all the mega rares achieved, most of the notable PVM items acquired, I just didn't really know what else to do. So I kind of, well, I shouldn't say started from scratch, okay? I just got booted out of the house because I wasn't paying attention. But yeah, I didn't necessarily start from scratch on this account because obviously this account is attached to the maxed account. But there was a good period where I just worked my way towards everything. Obviously, I had to do quests. I did do Corrupt the Gauntlet on this account. And I thought the 50 defense restriction was going to be an added challenge because I wasn't sure if I was able to get the Inferno Cape, which I have on right now, or the Quiver on a 50 defense account, because believe it or not, despite being a grandmaster in the game now, once upon a time I did not believe I would ever get an Inferno Cape, not even on a maxed account. But these days I have multiple KC, and I'm just gonna reiterate now, I even achieved Grandmaster, the pinnacle of PVM in this game, right? So I suppose the accounts have reversed their roles. I'm now feeling uninspired and burnt out from playing this account. And on the main, I've been very inspired, very motivated, evident by the Radiant Upplay grind, the GM grind, sailing to reobtain the Max Cape, things of that nature. We've been doing a whole lot on that account. And this account hasn't even so much as been featured in a clip or anything like that. Now, I purposely stopped playing this account for good reason. I mean, one good reason is just, I haven't been inspired to do anything on it. But 2, I didn't want to play on it and, change my mind and level up attack, defense, or prayer with the potential of regretting that decision. Because once I level those up, I can't go back, right? If I ever want that account type again, I'd have to make a new account. Although, it's not like it would take that long to get those combat stats, which are the most important thing on this account. Honestly, I don't know where this tangent and ramble came about. I logged on just to, check on the account because I haven't logged in a while. But yeah, I guess that's where we're at on this account, and I guess the series. Another day, and it's back to Fasani's we go. Let's try to make up for the lack of KC we did yesterday and get to 600 and beyond. We should be able to hit 600 no problem today. Here we go, KC 600. Now, I'm not going to be expecting another drop for a while. Probably another 80, 90 KC or so. I forget the exact number, but you know, 600 would be a nice number too. Instead, we get gold ore. Wow, that came out of nowhere. A new Fasani's Nightmare PB by 10 seconds, down from a 458 to a 448. What? I don't even know what to say. Like, it was just, like, I did not feel like I was going fast at all, but I mean, here we are. I guess it's because now that we have 2 Inquisitors pieces, our accuracy is a whole lot better. So if we're just getting consistent hits, I think a new PB is bound to happen. Lots of progress at Fasani's today, but unfortunately I did end my session there with a death. You can actually see it in the chat box. And what I also said in the chat box was 8 more hours of Fasani's Nightmare till I hit rate for a 6th item, give or take. If we scroll up a little bit here, when was our last KC? Yeah, a couple of minutes ago. KC 612. So I did some math. If we multiply 6 times 113, that's going to be 678. So yeah, another 66 KC to go. So that's roughly 8 hours, a little bit more than that, to hit rate. So maybe we'll see another drop sometime soon. So I'm just taking a bit of a breather here at the Amethyst Mine, and I'm doing this for good reason, actually. I've been using a blowpipe with Amethyst darts at Fasani's to deal with the sleepwalkers. Now, people are going to be like, well, why don't you just use something that's less expensive, you know, like just any darts or whatever. But honestly, Amethyst darts are probably the most easy for me to get, and I really don't feel like going out of my way to make bronze darts or something random like that. Besides, I'm going to need more Amethyst darts for other locations anyways. For example, when I'm doing TOA or, well, honestly, I can't really think of too many locations we'd have to use a blowpipe these days. But point still stands. New day, just came back from lunch, logged on. Well, actually, I'm exposing myself. I've been logged on for an hour. While I was eating lunch, I was mining some more amethyst. But our starting KC today is 628. Oh! Nightmare Staff number 2. What KC is that? There we go. 636. Nightmare Staff number 2. That's our first dupe. I can't be mad about that. We're actually pretty lucky right now. Fantastic. And I just stole Gooba's thunder because he just got a Blue Moon chestplate collection log. And then just a couple of seconds later, I get the Nightmare Staff. Do you know what, though? If there's a dupe to get at Fasani's, it's definitely the Nightmare Staff because, you know, you can get up to 3 and you can still make good use of them since there are 3 different orbs. So in that regard, we're still very, very lucky right now. This could not work out any better, honestly. Going for the back-to-back attempt right now, naturally, but in terms of items and when we can expect a 7th item, it's gonna be a good bit. Well over 100 KC because we weren't gonna be expecting a 6th item until KC's, I believe 678, but obviously we just pulled it on 636. So yeah, it's going to be close to 800 KC total until we see our next item. Expected anyways, but you know, with RNG, we never know. It could take longer than that. It could be earlier than that. We just never know. Only thing we can do is to keep doing the content to give ourselves a chance. Can we get a back-to-back? Prayer potions. We've been making good progress at Fasani, so I think I'm going to take a well-deserved break and do some more TOB. Let's see if we can get any purples, make some money. And we are getting closer and closer to the 2000 KC cape. I'm almost at 1000 regular TOBs, actually. Ooh, a purple? Wow, I've been getting a lot of purples lately, it feels like. Okay, what are we going to get? Another Avernic, perhaps? Sanguinesti Staff, okay. 20 mil. That is our 7th Sanguinesti Staff. Checking back into Fasani's Nightmare, we're now up to 663 KC, so safe to say we are in a bit of a groove with Fasani's now. We're pretty comfortable with it. Obviously, I still make the mistake here and there, and I do die on occasion, but I've been making a point to just stay above 80 health at all times, because I do believe that's right around the max hit. So, as long as I can afford myself a mistake or two a run, it's honestly not too bad, and we've been securing KCs, getting pretty close to 8 an hour, so that's all we can ask for. A fortunate but unfortunate sequence of events just now. I got a KC 669, and I got grimy Catentines, but unfortunately, I double-death Fasanis. So the KC counted, and I saw the loot, but I died, and luckily it wasn't a drop, otherwise I'd probably cry. Just got done with KC 678. We got ourselves 5 Snapdragon seeds, which is actually on the unlucky side of things, I think, because I think you can get up to 9 of these seeds in one drop. Anyways, though, 678 is kind of important because we currently have 5 items, or actually scratch that, 6 items, and that's right on rate for 6 items. So when we pulled the second Nightmare Staff, we were lucky for a little bit, but now we're back on rate, and we can expect to get another drop at 791, I believe. Another day, another session. Just got done with my farming contract and birdhouse run as per usual, and we're just picking up some extra salves here for our Tob runs. Now, between hard mode Tob, regular Tob, and all the Fasanis we've been doing, I think I've been gaming just a little bit too hard, because my hand is kind of feeling it. It's a little sore. Hurts a little bit, I don't know, just, you know, like, obviously from just gaming too much, right? Because when I'm not at hard mode Tob, which is pretty intensive in itself, you know, ripping all the switches and whatnot, I'm at Fasani's Nightmare, in which I have to also rip like 8-way switches whenever it gets to the totem phases. So yeah, it's a lot of clicking involved, a lot of mouse movement, and I think with that being said, after I pick up another inventory of salves here today, let's take a look at our collection log to take a look at our KC 685. I think I'm going to get to that 700 mark, see if we can get ourselves another drop. Although I've been talking numbers recently and we're not really going to be expecting one, but you know, you got to do the content to find out. Just picked up some cosmic runes on that first KC of the day. It's actually pretty nice because that way I don't have to buy any cosmic runes. There's not too many locations where I get cosmic runes as a drop, I don't think. In the last 100 to 200 KC, I've definitely died a lot less at Fasanis now, and the biggest reason, beyond just being more comfortable with the boss again, is that I stopped having this weird mindset where I'd be below 80 health or whatever health, just sitting low HP, and I'd refuse to eat because in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, this is a bad time to eat, it's inefficient, yada, yada, yada. But basically, all I have to tell myself is, do you know what's even more inefficient at eating at a bad time and putting yourself on cooldown? If you're dying, especially if you're 4 or 5 minutes into a run already and you die. That is very inefficient. Now I'm going to quit talking now because I just took a whole ton of damage and now I'm out of food, so I'm going to have to lock in for the rest of this fight. Alright, we've made it. We're working on KC 700 right now. Only had to do about 15 today, but in saying only, really, that still takes a good 2 hours or so. Again, 8 KC an hour. No drops in the last 14 KC, and to be honest, I don't quite expect one here on the 15th KC, but it would be a nice conclusion to this video. Again, my hand kind of hurts from gaming too hard, which is a very, very bad sign. So yeah, I'm definitely going to take it easy for a little bit after this. All right, here we go. Just about to enter the enrage phase here. Got 1 Dragon Claw Spike. Pretty big hit at that. Off the top of my head, those things are only like 31% accuracy, so pretty good. Honestly, maybe even lower now that I have the Inquisitor's helm on instead of a Torva helmet. Speaking of which, I believe the Fasani's grind really took a turn for me for the better when I got the Inquisitor's helm. I don't know the numbers on this, but from a feel standpoint, once I got 2 pieces of Inquisitors to pair with my Inquisitor's mace, the grind has felt a lot better, and I've been racking up the KC all the way up to 700. We are definitely going to keep going, though. I still got the skirt to get, and I still got 2 more orbs to get, and As a nice bonus, it'd be nice to get a third staff as well, but I won't be tripping if we don't end up with a third staff. But yeah, I'm going to call it a video here. We will definitely be continuing with more Fasanis in the future though.